Hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I help hardworking women and a few good men build financial confidence and take ownership of their financial future. I'm cheering you on with education on financial literacy, smart investments, and passive income streams. Welcome to Ladies of Wealth. I want to talk to you about 7 ways that malicious links install malware, sometimes without you even knowing it, okay? So the number one way, well, no. These are actually not in any order. And I had some of these already, and then I did some research and found some more, and I realized I forgot to put on my list. I forgot to put on my list for tonight where the source was of the extra two, but that's okay because I had 5, and then I found 2 more, and I said, oh, these are new. I didn't know about them. So that's why it's good to always be learning, right? But these are in no particular orders. But one way is drive-by downloads. Okay, so some links, especially those found in phishing emails or on compromised website, they will trigger an automatic download and installation of malware without your explicit consent. So the minute you go on their website, they have a script activated, and if you don't have antivirus or a script blocker or something like that, it just gets boom right onto your device, especially if your device is one of those operating systems that's very prone to being infected with malware. Okay, so that's number one. Number 2 is phishing websites. Okay, so this is where you have a link and it directs you to a fake website designed to look legit, but it can actually contain malware that's downloaded. So some of these phishing software take you to look like your bank or other account. So you put your account information in trying to check what this charge was they told you about, and now these criminals have your account information, right? But others of these sites have malware that gets downloaded when you click the link or open the attachment or otherwise interact with it. Okay. Another one is malware disguised as legitimate downloads. And this is one that actually frustrates and scares me a little bit because I used to have a web host company, and there are websites out there that I used to use to get my download scripts and the different, back when everybody was sharing all their code and we were all building on each other's stuff. These websites were legit sites to pull download software and other people's creations. And you know what? Today, some of those sites are full of malware. You click a link, you think you're getting a legitimate download, but it's actually a malicious executable file that can infect your computer. And sometimes you can catch it, but you want to not have to. Okay. All right. So let's see. How would you know if you had clicked something or installed something? Well, one is going to be unusual website redirections. Okay. So if you click a link and it takes you somewhere you didn't mean to go, it could be a sign of a malicious link. You could be on one of them news websites that has like 1,000,001 pop-ups, or the mom blog websites. They are so frustrating to me. Like, you can't even see the recipe because of all the pop-ups. And then they're like, do you want to subscribe to our site? No, I don't want to subscribe to your site. I can't even see it for all the crazy ads. What they're banking on is you going to accidentally click something because it's so many of them, and they're going to make money every time you click. That's not malicious, not smart in my opinion, but you know what? They make money. So as long as people click that stuff and they make money, they're going to keep doing it. All right. But you wanna be aware of that. Okay. The other thing you want to be aware of is unexpected software installations. Okay. So you install a software, and it usually has a pop-up box that says, hey, do you want a custom installation, or do you want us to just download what we recommend? Generally speaking, even if you just download what they recommend, generally speaking, most of the time, maybe 75% of the time, it's going to be stuff that's going to help you with that software. It's going to help you. It's going to introduce you to new stuff. But the other part of the time, it could be things that masquerade as helpful, and that developer puts it in, and then just like the websites I told you about that back in the day were super helpful but now are filled with malware, well, they could change. And now when you upload the valid software that add-on piece from a third-party vendor could now be installing new software. So you want to be aware for new buttons or software that you didn't download or install. It could be malware that was installed through a malicious link, like we already talked about, or a valid link. Like, I don't want to name a good one. But let me do a pretend one. Like let's say I download a software for making crossword puzzles. I used to love making crossword puzzles. We have a new youth lesson out. I'm going to make a new youth lesson. I mean, we have a new adult lesson out for our Christian education. I normally make youth lessons from that for my son. And I like, because he doesn't pay good attention in Bible study. But when I make him a little thing with, word searches and fill in the blanks, he loves that, right? And so I'll make those little things. Well, let's say I download a new software to make the crossword puzzles. Sounds really valid, right? And all the moms are raving about it. And Norton says, this is safe, or McAfee, if that's what you use, or WebRoot, I think is another antivirus software that's out there. Whatever you use says, yep, this is good. So you're downloading it. And then that pop-up comes. Do you want the custom installation, or do you want us to install the recommended configuration? And I always click custom because I don't know what you recommended. I don't know what third-party installation is going to happen with my crossword. You could have, a new picture editing software that last year was a good picture editing software, but this year it's become malware. The people who created it and gave it to the crossword puzzle maker, they created it under bad faith that, hey, this is going to make great word pictures. So now you can put text and pictures on top of your crossword. Doesn't it sound good? I'm making this up on the fly, but doesn't it sound good, y'all? So you put the text and cross and all that stuff over your crossword. But then once they got people hooked, the next group of people that install it, now it's malware under the guise of this thing. And the poor software people who created the crossword puzzle software probably don't even know about it. I hope I made that make sense. If I fumbled that one really bad, put it in the chat and I'll try to explain it again later, all right? Another thing that we have to watch out for is pop-up ads or suspicious messages, okay? So a lot of these websites that we go to today, they make their money through pop-up ads. They make their money through affiliate links. And I make money through affiliate links. Like I was on the cruise. I got two payments. I got two payments, one from YouTube and one from Amazon. I was like, oh, I'm happy about this. I like extra money to spend, right? Actually, I got it right before we got on the boat. I didn't get anything on the boat. I got it right before I got on the boat. I was so happy, y'all. I was like, oh, extra shopping, right? But that's through affiliates. I get affiliate fees. I get affiliate fees from Amazon when you click on my links. I get affiliate fees from Amazon whenever you click on my links. And then with YouTube, sometimes I put affiliate links in my YouTube videos. And sometimes YouTube sends me ad revenue, right? So all of that is a cost share kind of thing. And that's great. But some of these pop-ups can be malicious. And if you aren't paying attention, you might just be trying to hurry up and close them all out. Like you went to this news website and you're clicking them all out. And then the next thing you know, you clicked the wrong one. And now your whole screen is flooded. When you see something like that happen, try to get out of that window as quick as you possibly can. All right. See if you can go down to take your mouse and go down to the bottom and do a right click on that browser and click out of it and see if you can keep it from doing anything else or reset it or something. All right. That didn't even sound right. That's probably sounded confusing. Okay. The last one, and this is something I knew about, but we never used to call it this. Okay. And it's the zombification of your computer, which can cause slow performance. Okay. If your computer starts running slower than usual or starts crashing frequently, it could be a sign of malware that's affecting your system. So sometimes bots steal your computer's computing power and they use it for their own computations, Bitcoin mining, for sending out spam emails and things like that. Now, some of us have heard about this in the past because in the past, it wasn't just, y'all, in the past when the internet was first a thing, it wasn't just scamsters who were doing this. It was some governments who were doing it because they take the computing power of your computer and the computing power of your neighbor's computer and they put all that together and they make their own one like connected supercomputer kind of thing. And so your computer's running and running, and you're like, why is my computer making so much noise and I'm not even using it? Because somebody else is using it. And nowadays, and back then it was scientific stuff. See, the kind of scientific stuff that we were doing in our lab required really big computers, and the same in other countries that didn't always have access to a whole lot of computing power. So, that's not as big of a threat now as it used to be. But what the threat is now is people using it to mine Bitcoin, people using it to run their own compilations and computations on different things. And then also, people using your computer, they slip in and access your computer and use the computing power of your computer to do things like send spam emails out, create bots, run bot systems, and you don't even know it's there. All you know is your computer is running very slow. The criminals gather as many computers as they can, and they put them into groups called botnets. And your computer now has effectively become a zombie. Whenever they want to activate their botnet, your computer is almost it's almost impossible for you to use. Okay, so you want to be aware of these things, and you want to make sure that you are monitoring your computer and paying attention. That's the big thing. A lot of this stuff requires paying attention. And I don't know if it's a getting older thing. I don't know if it's a tired at the end of the day thing. I don't know if it's the computers have been getting more complicated. I know that's why I originally sold my website business, is because the security needed to maintain people's sites was just getting to be more than I felt was worth my time, And then I ended up buying it back because the person I sold it to wasn't doing a very good job. But I don't know what it is, but it just seems like it's so much harder to pay attention to all these things. It could be that I'm scrolling too much on Reddit or playing too much of my little township game that I enjoy, right? It could be that my attention is dwindling, but I've found in myself, and you might find in yourself, that I have to actively focus. I have to actively pay attention and challenge myself. What is going on in my room? What are the sounds that my house normally makes? Y'all, my house makes the scariest sounds. Like if I just lived alone, the house is still noisy. If I was alone, the house is still noisy. And so what is a normal sound? What is a normal crunch? Like that fridge, like if I didn't know it was the fridge, you would think somebody had broken into your house. That's how loud it is. And it makes all these crazy sounds, right? Your computer makes sounds. Your phone can make sounds if you're using it a certain way, right? Like your computer has a normal performance. Your phone has a normal performance. And when we pay attention to these things, not to say we're going to get overly anxious about it, but just noticing, hey, my computer is clicking a lot more than it normally does. It's making a little sound, and I'm not doing anything with it. I wonder why it's doing that. And we want to be curious, okay? We want to be curious about what's going on so that we can protect ourselves. All right? So now that leads me to the next thing. Hang on a second. What can we do to protect ourselves? Now, I'm just going to do a quick summary on this, okay? Because there is a whole interview. There's a whole interview I did with let me see. Well, no, I'm not going to find it out. I did a whole interview with a world-renowned security person about a year or two ago. Okay. And I would name his business, but I'm not sure it's the same name. So just search my archives. Go to ladiesofwealth.com and search my archives for protecting yourself online. I should have figured that. I should have reached out to him and made sure before I did this. Okay. What are 5 ways? What are 5 ways to protect your computer from malware and zombification? All right. 1, be cautious before clicking. That's right. That's right. We said it a bunch of times. And honestly, depending on where you work, you've been trained in this so much, sometimes you forget to apply this at home. I know, like in the military, we've heard this over and over and over. But you know who's getting scammed? People who are clicking the links. And then they wonder why I don't click the links. Like, you said, listen, Linda. If you send me links on text, and if you send me links in my Facebook messages, and you send me all these links, I just want you to know I am not clicking them. I'm just not. Unless the preview shows me it's a valid site and I can read the URL for myself, I'm not clicking it. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Because I don't have time. I've already gone through recapturing my computer once. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy, you know. So before clicking any link, especially those in unsolicited emails or from unknown sources, make sure it's a legitimate link and website by verifying the URL and the sender's identity. They are very good at making it seem like it's what it should be. If you have to, screenshot that thing and blow it up so you can look at it, because it'll look like it says google.com, and what it'll say is goo with an extra o, goal.com or something like that. Okay, I think Google's got most of those fake ones knocked down, but there are some very valid ones. MyPay, for you military retirees, MyPay has one out there that's very similar to MyPay. I forget what their actual name is, but it takes you to one of those landing pages that is not MyPay. There's what's another one? They're not coming to my mind now, but make sure you verify the URL and the sender's identity before you click on anything, and especially before you put any information in. All right. Number two is use a strong antivirus software. And having a reliable antivirus software can help you detect and remove any malware that might be installed. Now, I've got Norton on this. I used to have the one that Geek Squad puts on. I think it's called WebRoot. And then before that, I had McAfee. But me and McAfee have never gotten along. And like the whole 20 years or 30 years now, almost 27 years of internet existing. Wow. The internet really has not been around that long, because it came out while I was in college. And yeah, it came out my freshman year in college, and it was called Usenet. It was just words on a screen. Um, I'm sure the military had it before I went to the academy, but for the rest of the world. But yeah, me and McAfee have not gotten along, but some people swear by it. Norton is very annoying because they have a lot of pop-ups and a lot of, hey, get this product, and hey, get that product. And they like to infuse themselves into your browser, and then it slows your browser down, and then you can't go to all the things you want to go to. Like, it's not even protecting you. It's just trying to funnel you into their ecosystem. And so I hate that part of it, but it's always worked for me. And your one thing gets you five, and they're not paying me to tell you do it or don't. There are times when I'm happy to try something else. Let's just say it that way. But another thing that's really important to do is to actually back up your stuff, so that if something happens and you have to restore your computer, then you're able to pull back your memories and your research and all the different things that are important to you that would just devastate you if you lost what was on your computer, or more importantly, your phone. Now, I have a review coming out. I made a video. I have to edit them. I made some videos on different uh, tools to get your stuff off the iPhone. The Android is very easy. The Android, you plug it into your computer, you hit boom, and it shows up like any other drive on your computer. But the iPhone's a little more difficult. It's harder to get your stuff off the iPhone, okay? So I played around with some different softwares that can help you do that, and it's hard to go back and forth, and to go back and forth between the iPhone and Android, and to go forth between the iPhone and your computer. Like, all of that is just not easy. Like iPhone does not make that easy, but that's part of their security protocol. So it's not as easy to do the things you want to do, because everything in the iPhone is compartmented off so that if one gets compromised, it doesn't compromise the whole phone. Okay. So as much as I'm mad about that, I'm actually kind of like that. Okay. So what do we stop at? Antivirus, back your stuff up. Okay. Update your browser and operating system. I know those updates are so annoying, and they always come at the wrong time. Okay. But don't let it go too long. And if you're like me and you understand that you like old operating systems, yes, says the gal who still has a Windows. I think I still have a Windows 6 computer, a Windows 7 computer, a Windows 10 computer, and now they're going to sunset Windows 10, and I also have a Windows 11 computer. I understand that we don't like to lose our operating system, but for the work you're going to be doing online, you want to make sure you have a computer with the most up-to-date operating system, because that is going to help you protect yourself. All right. You keep your browser and your operating system up to date. That'll give you the most latest security patches and updates. Now, if you're like me and you get tired of all these updates that cause more problems, well, just wait a little bit. Like on the browser, I wait until Google says it's red. Google Chrome. I don't remember how Facebook Firefox does. I think Firefox just like one day you go in and it's updated, but Google's like, you need to close this and reopen it so we can update. Like they do just update. I think I don't know that you can turn that off. Again, another thing I should have researched before we started tonight. But on mine, when I see it, it'll be green. Hey, you need to update, and then it'll be yellow. We need you to update, and it'll be red. You better update. Don't you fool around, or we will update for you. So you wanna do that, okay? The number 4 on that, on things, ways to protect yourself. Be aware. Be aware of phishing attempts, okay? Fake emails, websites that are requesting personal information. I keep getting these texts about you owe us for your tolls. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I got that on auto, because I live in rural Texas and I'm driving all over the state, and I'm just going to use the tolls. And I know they're expensive, but it's like when I was in Virginia. My boss in Virginia used to laugh at me because I would literally take the toll road and it'd be like 25 cents, and everybody, the traffic is clear and there's no reason to go on the toll road. But the one time that highway has an accident and I'm late for that daycare and I have to pay a $75 fee, it's worth a whole 6 months of those tolls to make sure I'm to that daycare on time. And that's kind of how I am with the Texas roads. If I can take a toll and get there faster, I will take a toll and get there faster. If I can take a toll and not have 6 lanes of traffic around me, I will take the toll and not have 6 rounds of traffic around me. So I keep look. I'm not a big fan of auto pay on anything, but you best believe I got my toll money on auto pay. So they send you these things and they stress you out. Look, I had somebody. If you're watching this, and I don't think you do, please know that I love you. I love you so much. I had somebody ask me the other day, "Hey, do I have a credit card?" And this is why young people are the fastest growing group of people who are getting scammed online. It's not my age group and older, it's actually young people. And I'm like, no, you don't have a credit card. That's spam. It's trying to get you to freak out about these charges and go log into their website and give them your personal information. It's not, you have to apply for a credit card. One doesn't just automatically appear out of thin air anymore. Now they used to. Do y'all remember that back in the day? That they got in trouble for doing that, especially the college kids. And so as we look at trying to help our my son's Aggie classmates, and other college students that we care about, this is something that's becoming a big deal. And so they're going to request these things, and they're basically, it's called phishing. They're just out there throwing out that hook and seeing who they can catch. Okay. All right. So be aware. Be aware, first of all. Another thing that you can do is to hover over links before clicking. So remember when I mentioned before about how you need to check that the link is good before you click on it? Like, I don't even click on links. Like, let's say somebody sends me a YouTube video on Facebook. I will hover over it, and then I will go into YouTube and I will search it. And so you'll think, oh, she doesn't like my stuff. No, it's not that I'm just protecting myself, because I get a couple thousand emails a day, and I get maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 20 messages a day in the different platforms. And I just don't have, I'm not taking the risk. Okay. I can't have my Facebook locked down for no reason. Right. But if you hover your mouse, so you hover your mouse, hold on. You put your mouse over the thing and you don't click it. You just put the mouse over it. Okay. And at the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen in some browsers, it'll show you what the URL is. And then usually it will. And that way you can see what the real URL is, because it might say USAA Bank, but when you hover over it, it might say xyz.russia.ru, right? So you want to make sure you know where that link is actually going. And you also want to make sure it's a legit link. So for example, it says USAA Bank and you hover over it and you see USAA Bank.xyz.ru. No. That's not USAA.com. That's USAA Bank subdivision. I forget the actual name for it. It's a sub URL to xyz.com, xyz.ru. It's not USAA Bank. They put that in the front, just like where the www goes, to make you think when you hover over it, oh, it's USAA. It's not. You got to look at the whole thing, y'all. And some of these links, they are gobbledygook. They are gobbledygook. And so play it safe. If you get something from your bank that says, hey, we had these charges, and it and you get a fraud department phone number, and call the phone number, and then you call them, and they want to confirm your account, right? Don't call the phone number in that text or email. Don't click the link in that text or email. You call them with the number on your bank statement, on your credit card statement, on your, I was about to say debit card statement, but that's actually your bank statement. Call that number and ask to speak to the fraud department, because you will find out really quick that a lot of these things are spam. All right, so watch out for these scams and protect yourself by staying informed and by subscribing to my Ladies of Wealth podcast. We turn these Thursday night lessons into podcasts that are heard all around the world, y'all. And so I want you to be aware of those scams. If y'all haven't seen the new Ladies of Wealth page, please go out there and see the new Ladies of Wealth page. And you can leave me, you can apply to speak. You can leave me a voicemail. Like, you can just click a button. You don't even have to use a phone. You don't have to give me your number. You just leave it, click, and say your thing and click. You don't even have to give me your name or your email or none of that. You just boop, do it. Okay. And you can ask your question the traditional way with a form, and you can give a review. I think I took the reviews down because I had too many things. You can do your ask question. You can take a class. You can do all kinds of things, y'all, on the ladiesofwealth.com. Okay. I do want to remind everybody about our group coaching. So if you're listening to us on the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to join us Thursday nights again. Get your questions answered at no cost with each class. If you want to get your questions answered in a more private environment, you can join our group coaching program for $49 a month. I am currently not taking any more one-on-one clients because I'm already full of one-on-one clients. And I had one slip in on me last year when I wasn't taking anybody, and then I opened it up and got some new ones, and then I closed it back. I think we've locked that down, because when people slip in like that, I don't necessarily have the capacity to serve them with the excellence that I want. So we try not to open it up unless I know I can serve you, and give you what you paid for. And I do my best with everything that I do, but I don't want that extra stress. My family wants their mom. So we really put a limit on it, but anybody can come to group coaching. And usually, to be honest with you, we've only got about 4 or 5 people in there, maybe 1 or 2. Some days we got 1 or 2. Like there's been days where it's 1 or 2 people, and each one of those ladies gets like half an hour of personalized coaching, because that they would have paid $500 for, but they're the ones who chose to show up. They invested their time into themselves, and they got the blessing. So you can get the blessing too. You can go to jjclink.com/group. jjclink.com/group. Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and ask your question at ladiesofwealth.com.